All right, today we're diving into one of the most fascinating and, frankly, out there ideas in cosmology you'll probably ever hear about. It's called aniscopic geometric theory, or AGT for short, and it asks us to completely reframe our reality, to think about the universe not as a vast empty space, but as a colossal information processor, a computer.
So, to get our heads around this, let's start with a kind of weird question that the theory itself poses. Is it possible to use nothing but pure geometry to transform a perfect, featureless sphere into something totally different, like a donut? I mean, it seems impossible, right?
But AGT says that's not even the real question we should be asking. The real question is much, much bigger. What if the universe is a computer, a quantum computer, on a scale that is just unimaginable? For the next few minutes, let's just run with that idea. Let's treat it as true and see where it takes us.
Okay, so if the universe is a computer, every computer needs hardware, right? What's the physical machine that's actually running the show? Well, in aniscopic geometric theory, the answer isn't silicon chips and wires, it's pure geometry.
So, what are the pixels on this cosmic computer screen? Well, the theory says reality starts out as a perfect massless sphere. But the moment you introduce information, a kind of geometric pressure or shear force, that sphere crystallizes. It transforms into this shape, an icosphere, a 20-faced object that is, for all intents and purposes, the fundamental pixel of our spacetime.
So where do all these pixels live? They aren't just floating around randomly. AGT suggests they're all arranged on a kind of cosmic motherboard, a higher dimensional torus, a donut shape. This creates a perfect, closed loop, which is crucial because it lets the universe's source code just circulate endlessly without ever being lost.
And how does that source code get from one pixel to the next? It travels through something the theory calls complex flux. Just think of this as the wiring of the universe. These are the data cables that connect all those icosahedron pixels on our torus circuit board, and they carry the geometric instructions that literally build our reality.
And this is the perfect way to visualize it. In our world, we use fiber optic cables. They carry pulses of light to transmit data for the internet, for everything. Well, in the universe's hardware, this complex flux carries pulses of geometric code to create the very fabric of reality itself. This table really breaks down how that code actually works. You start with the base code, just A. All that does is define a boundary, a massless state. But then you apply an operation, a shear called dA, and that action creates the 20 faces of our pixel, generating something like surface tension. Then you stack that operation on itself, F wedge F, which concentrates all that information at the corners, creating vertices, and it's right there at those vertices that tangible mass finally pops into existence. So, we've got our hardware, but, every computer needs an operating system. It needs a fundamental set of rules that tells the hardware what to do. In AGT, the universe's entire operating system is based on one single, almost mythical mathematical constant. And here it is, the golden ratio, or phi. You see this irrational number everywhere, from the spiral of a seashell to the shape of galaxies. In this model, that's no coincidence. This number is the core of the universe's machine language. It's the fundamental logic that dictates how reality gets computed. Now here's the really crucial part. The equation for phi actually has two solutions. There's a positive one, which you can think of as the constructive code that builds matter, and then there's a negative one, which acts like a reflective, destructive code for antimatter. Together, they form this perfect informational mirror. Look at this. Their sum is 1, and their product is -1. It allows the universe to exist in this perfectly balanced yet dynamic state of opposition. And this quote from the theory source material just says it all. Mass isn't a thing in the way we usually think about it. It's more like an informational phenomenon, an echo or a reflection of some infinite potential that gets locked into a stable physical form by the beautiful dualistic logic of the golden ratio. Okay, so we've got the hardware and we've got the operating system, but how does this computer actually calculate anything? Let's look at its most important job, computing mass from, well, essentially nothing. So the theory has its own version of the Higgs mechanism, but it's framed entirely as a computational process. Step 1 is the input. You get this abstract energy from a higher dimension called a complex potential. Step 2 is the process. A specific mathematical operation, a Cauchy integral, acts like a CPU. It funnels and crunches the numbers on that potential. And finally, step 3 is the output. A residue, basically a leftover from that calculation, is what we experience as mass. Mass is the result of a cosmic calculation. Now, this is where the computer analogy gets really, really compelling. Because like any computer you've ever used, the universe has performance limits. It has a clock speed, it has a memory capacity, and yes, it can crash.
Physicists have scratched their heads for decades about the fine structure constant. It's this number that just seems to pop up everywhere. Well, AGT offers a stunningly simple explanation for it. The inverse of that constant, about 137, is the clock speed of the universe. It's the fundamental rate at which the cosmic processor can run its code and update reality.
And what about memory? Well, based on a branch of math called Clifford algebra, we don't need to get into the weeds on it, the theory calculates that each individual icosahedron pixel has a maximum data capacity, a hard limit of 128 bits of information. No more.
And this leads to an absolutely incredible redefinition of a black hole. It's not just a super dense collapsed star. In this model, a black hole is a single pixel of spacetime that has been forced to store more than its 128-bit memory limit. It's a memory overflow error on a cosmic scale. It's a total system crash, a blue screen of death at one specific address in the universe.
So that brings us to our final and maybe most profound question. If any of this is true, if reality really is a geometric computer that's running on an ancient mathematical code, then what does that make us? What is consciousness in this system? Are we just complex programs running on the hardware? Or could we be something more? Could we be the users,